Hey, Mboya.
Wewe kwani wani vile dereva anaendesha gari vibaya lazima tususe. Anaendesha gari na kwa simu the whole time hata analipa barabara. Iliyopita peke yake watu zaidi ya 3,000 walipoteza maisha yao barabarani kwa sababu ya tabia kama hizo. Hautatuangamiza tukiona.
Naomba msamaha, nitampeleka vizuri.
Si wameomba msamaha. Sasa tuende tusafiri kwa mwendo wa aste.
Dere Smart hufikisha abiria salama. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na European Union.
Catch the Kisumu and Nanyuki Safari trains as you travel back from your festivities. The daily service runs up to 14th January 2024, with the Nanyuki train departing at 9 a.m. and the Kisumu train at 6:30 p.m. Book tickets easily by visiting the Nairobi Central Station or call 011-516-9759 or 011-510-2558 for an enjoyable travel experience to and from Kisumu and Nanyuki. That's not all. Enjoy a seamless travel experience on the Madaraka Express passenger service operating at 8 a.m., 3 p.m. and 10 p.m. between Nairobi and Mombasa. Also, catch the Suswa train every Friday, Saturday and Sunday at 8:50 a.m. operating between Nairobi Terminus and Suswa Station for an unforgettable experience. To book, dial *639# or visit meetickets.krc.co.ke. It's safe, affordable, reliable. For inquiries, contact us on 0709 907 000.
Well, from wherever you're watching us in Kenya and around the world, good evening and a warm welcome to Prime Edition. Beautiful weather in Nairobi. We have lots and lots of stories lined up for you tonight in this live broadcast, and it begins right now with our lead stories.
The problem of Kenya is not taxes. The problem of Kenya is debts. Unless we manage our debts, unless we control our appetite for borrowing, we are going to be slaves of those who lend to us.
We cannot afford to default on our financial commitments. President Ruto defends Kenya's tax regime and says all debt must be paid. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Medical staff at Medihill Nakuru down tools over unpaid salaries. The ghosts of Aror and Kimorer, DPP and 2 prosecutors sued over the handling of the dams case. Byron Abuli is our sign language interpreter. My name is Mboya. Our socials at KBC Channel 1. Let's begin with our lead story. President William Ruto has defended his taxation policy, saying it's the only way to ease the burden of the national debt. Speaking in Nyandarua County, the head of state told off his critics, saying that he will not allow Kenya to be classified as one of the countries defaulting on foreign debt. Leaders accompanying the president encouraged the head of state to carry on with his plan and not to be distracted by the noises of the opposition. Gishuki Washira opens our coverage with that report tonight.
President William Ruto was in Nyandarua County for the burial of area Senator John Medho's father, where he defended his taxation policy, which has attracted criticism from the opposition.
Tumeelekeza mawazo yetu na mipango yetu sio kwa mambo ya leo na kesho, ni mambo ya usoni na vile Kenya itanawiri tukiwa pamoja.
The head of state says he will not allow Kenya to be classified among countries defaulting on foreign loans.
Ati wa Kenya tusiwapunguzie hawa wenye mapato ya chini kutoka 500 mpaka 300 waendelee kulipa 500 na wao waendelee kuiba hiyo pesa. Ati wa Kenya waendelee kuishi kwa slums. Ati wa Kenya wasipate nyumba. Na hawa ambao wako kotini ni watu wako na medical insurance inalipwa na wa Kenya.
According to the president, the solution to the current hard economic times is to control borrowing while managing the economy through taxes.
Tusifanye makosa ambayo yalifanyika pale mbeleni. Na nawashukuru sana. Sasa nataka niwaambie ya kwamba mwaka huu wa 2024 ni ile mwaka. Hii 2024 ni ile mwaka.
President Ruto says he will not be distracted by the critics in his ambition to grow the nation. Leaders accompanying the head of state committed to support the president's agenda.
Ati mtu mmoja anaweza enda kotini aseme hawa watu wote hawakujua vile walikuwa wanafanya, wewe tu ndio unajua. Havana. Niseme kama rais, havana.
Walituambia last year wanaenda kwa maandamano sababu bei ya unga ilikuwa 260. Leo bei ya unga iko nusu ya hiyo bei. Sasa utaambia watu unaenda kwa maandamano kuandamana nini kama bei ya unga imeteremka?
Visho Kiwashira, Prime Edition.
Moving on, health workers at Medihill Hospital in Nakuru have downed their tools to protest non-payment of their salaries. The workers who have gone without pay for the last 4 months have vowed not to return to work until their grievances are addressed. They say that they can no longer meet their basic needs, with some said to have resulted to residing, believe it or not, in the hospital due to rent arrears.
Medihill Hospital in Nakuru County. Hakie to chance, synonymous with labor strife, meet you as you make your way to the hospital. Distraught health workers have downed their tools over non-payment of salaries for the last 4 months. The workers say that they are unable to afford their basic needs despite meeting their obligations to the hospital.
We cannot afford to take our kids back to school. We cannot afford to eat anymore. Some have terminal diseases, they have to be taking medications, but they still can't afford that because of the stress strain.
Some of us, they are sleeping in the hospital because they don't have somewhere to sleep. Their houses has been shut down, so we need our prayers and our requests to be heard so that the employee can pay us our money.
Tunamuitisha tu atupe pesa yetu sababu tuko na bills mingi huko nje. Kama ni madeni imekuwa mingi sana. Watu wanatudai, ma landlords hata hawezi sikia mambo yetu tena currently.
They now want the intervention of the government, citing a breakdown in communication on their pay by the hospital management.
We have raised our issues a number of times to the administration, and so far the communication is not quite clear. We are not getting a clear way forward. Because if he told us we are going to get our money in a month or 2 months or 3 months, it could be better. But you're not getting any clear communication on what you're expecting, what you're waiting for.
Simple question to the employer, the owner of this hospital, is when we had a good business, like he has been here for 10 years in Kenya. I was working hard. I was taking care of patients. Who takes care of me in such a situation like I am today? That means that I have been so dedicated, I have been doing my work diligently. But why can't he be diligent enough to come and answer our questions? That is the audience we want to seek, even to the government. Who takes care of the medics when they have nothing else to do?
According to what he says, we don't see if we are getting paid. If he doesn't pay, we will seek another options from our leaders so that we can know what next.
2 weeks ago, nurses at the Medhill Hospital in Eldoret issued a strike notice over non-payment of salaries that has persisted for 5 months. Nancy Okare, Prime Edition.
Now, government has disbursed December funds for the Inua Jamii Cash Transfer Program. In a statement, Labour and Social Protection Cabinet Secretary Florence Bore said over 2 billion shillings will be disbursed through M-Pesa, with beneficiaries expected to receive 2,000 shillings being payment for December 2023. Gladys Mungai reports.
Inua Jamii program beneficiaries will from today receive 2,000 shillings stipend as payment for December 2023 allocation. According to Labour Cabinet Secretary Florence Bore, monies amounting to 2 billion shillings payment to beneficiaries enrolled in the Inua Jamii program were released before the end of the year, and a further 5 million shillings for nutrition improvement through cash and health education, which is a complementary program, were also released. Following the presidential directive, Inua Jamii beneficiaries will be receiving their stipends through M-Pesa platform. According to the CS, orphans as well as the vulnerable children who are beneficiaries of the cash transfer and persons with severe disabilities cash transfer caregivers are required to enroll for M-Pesa payments using their registered M-Pesa phone numbers. Older persons cash transfer beneficiaries will continue to receive their funds through their bank accounts as usual. Inua Jamii program is a government cash transfer initiative that supports the most vulnerable members of the community by providing them with a stipend to cushion them from poverty and hunger as well as improve their lives. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Azimio la Umoja One, Kenya leader Raila Odinga has cautioned leaders allied to the opposition outfit to desist from early campaigns, saying that it's against the wishes of the electorate who are expecting service delivery. The Azimio chief is under pressure to provide direction on how the opposition intends to keep government in check, with a section of his allies barking calls for the return of street protests. Give us on minor reports.
Opposition leader Raila Odinga says early campaigns create a perpetual state of political distraction that is toxic to service delivery.
Tayari wakati huu wengine wameshadeclare mimi ni incoming MCA ya ward hii. Mwingine ni MCA, mimi sasa nataka kuwa mbunge wa Matungu. Mwingine ni mbunge wa mbunge, nataka kuwa gavana. Ile msimu nakuja. Sisi kama kuna kitu mbaya na kutaka kwenda juu. Ile kitu nasema ni kufanya ya mambo ya campaign inakuwa occupation.
Speaking in Matungu, Kakamega County, Raila urged his allies to focus on fulfilling the responsibilities mandated to them by the electorate.
Unaona sasa Wamarekani wanaenda kwa uchaguzi mwaka huu. Na wengi makandidates walianza kudeclare October, November, December. Ndio wanadeclare mimi nitakuwa candidate. Na bado wamebaki na miezi 10 ya kufanya campaign. Lakini tukianza kupigana sana so sisi watu wa ODM pande hii au Azimio na Azimio unaleta kufanya kazi na kuwa ngumu hata kwa gavana kufanya kazi yake.
Governor Fernandez Baraza echoed the sentiments, urging fellow leaders to prioritize their mandate and defer politics to the appropriate time.
Ikifika mwaka wa 2027, wale ambao wanatafuta viti, you will be free to campaign for whatever position. Na sisi tunasema hapa Kakamega ya kwamba tuko tayari anytime kukabiliana na yeyote ambaye anaona anaweza kumenyana na Italanyi. Hinabwene.
Bumula Member of Parliament Jack Wamboka vowed that Azimio la Umoja coalition would rally behind their leaders' call to return the demos over the cost of living.
Ulituambia mwaka mpya uko na siri baba tatupa ya mapambano. Sisi kama jeshi la baba Tuko tayari kwa hiyo mapambano kuhakikisha kwamba mwananchi wa chini ambaye alihadaiwa kwamba maisha itakuwa bora anapata.
Giverson Minor, Prime Edition.
Now, 4 lobby groups have filed a petition at the High Court seeking a recess hearing on the 63 billion Aror and Kimwarer dam case, where all the 9 accused persons, remember, were set free last month. The petitioners want the lifting of immunity of the prosecutorial counsel and to hold them personally liable in the event of the 9 accused sue for malicious damages, arguing that the taxpayer could lose more. However, in a quick rejoinder, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Ranson Mulele, through his lawyers, has challenged the petition, stating that his office cannot be directed on how to do its work. Ruth Wamboi with the details in the Scales of Justice segment.
First day of the courts working in 2024, the Milimani Law Court. A certificate of urgency was filed by 4 NGOs over the accountability for the reckless dereliction of duty by prosecution counsel in the 63 billion Aror and Kimwarer dams case. In court papers, the petitioner states that the counsel failed to call witnesses, citing firm instructions not to proceed with the matter. They further say the country will lose more for malicious prosecution damages and that no guarantee that the ODPP, the 2 officers that were involved in the case, will refund the public if the petition succeeds. However, in a quick rejoinder before the judge could give directions on the matter, the DPP has termed the move premature and an exercise in futility.
It is not enough for the petitioners in this case to have sued the ODPP, the officers of the Director of Public Prosecutions in their own personal capacity. We have the ODPP Act that provides for some immunity. The immunity that is accorded to all public officers exercising delegated authority from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
He further said that the petitioner should not drag his officers in court matters as they do their duties as prescribed in the Constitution.
Article number 2 buttresses the position of the Director of Public Prosecution in Article 157. You cannot sue the DPP in any constitutional court, in any court, with a view on the question of his job description.
And a suspect, Hilary Samoei, has been released on a 500,000 cash bail after denying an offense of conspiring to defraud the government. A total of 2,398 bags of 50 kg subsidized fertilizers valued at 7 million Kenya shillings.
The accused is granted bond of Kenya shillings 1 million with 1 surety, with an alternative cash bail of Kenya shillings 500,000 with 1 contract person.
The matter is set for consolidation with all similar cases of subsidized fertilizers before Milimani's Chief Magistrate's Court. Elsewhere, Nyeri Law Court, over 200 men arrested on December 31st during a soup in Nyeri County to weed out followers of the former Mungiki Sek leaders Maina Njenga have been arraigned before an open court in Nyeri. Appearing before senior resident magistrates Marceline Lubia and Madhya Sokuche, the 297 denied the charges of engaging in organized criminal. The 2 magistrates released them on a 10,000 shillings, and the case is set for the mention before separate courtrooms at the Nyeri locus between January 16th and 18th, 2024. Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Residents and the business community of Difathas town in Mboya East Sub-County, Kirinyaga County, have raised concerns over the increased cases of insecurity in the region. The residents are now calling for a total overhaul of the police at the Difathas Administration Police Post, claiming that they have been compromised. This comes after several business premises were broken into during the festive season, with thieves making away with unknown items of unknown value. Timothy Kipnusu is on that security beat.
Increased cases of insecurity in parts of Kirinyaga County is raising concern among area residents
who are now demanding the immediate deployment of new police officers at Difathas, a police post, to address the security situation. During the New Year celebration, residents raised an alarm leading to the arrest of a suspect of theft. He was, however, allegedly released under unclear circumstances.
Wale polisi tumekuwa na kesi mingi sana. Pale ukipeleka mtu amefanya hatia, hakuna sheria ama hakuna haki unapata. Tunahofia kwamba wanayahatarisha yale maisha ya wale vijana walioachiliwa.
Residents temporarily closed Makutano Embu Highway to express their displeasure. Led by Murindiko Ward Member of County Assembly Charles Nyamu, the irate residents called for an overhaul of the entire police post to arrest the situation and boost security and confidence of area residents.
Hata ingewezekana saa hii na wasiondolewa hapo wapelekwe pale pengine. Tunataka waondolewe kabisa, waondoke eneo ya Murindiko completely ili tuweze kukaa kwa amani. Tunaomba hata afadhali tukae bila. Juu zile kesi mingi tumeona hapa. Tunazipitia na uchungu mingi tunapitia kupitia hawa watu.
Irene Wangeshu is a victim, said she received a distress call at midnight over theft in her shop, where she found her shop's main door broken. Gas cylinders, sugar, rice and edible oils were missing.
Nikakonfirm, nikaona ni ukweli. Nimeambiwa vitu yote ya duka, mitungi, masukari na mafuta, hata mchere wamefagia duka yote.
And upon reporting the police, no action was taken.
Tulishika mwizi, tukampatia polisi moja, alafu akaachilia mwizi. Sasa tunashindwa sisi, tunaona kwetu hatuna haki. Kama mimi nataka nitetee haki yangu juu kama sasa tumeanzia January, niko na watoto wanataka school fees, niko na watoto wawili, mmoja secondary na mwingine academy. Sasa nashindwa nitaanzia wapi na nitamalizia wapi.
Similar reports were previously made in Wanguru area of Mboya less than 3 days ago. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
Now, a Kenyan scientist has come up with an innovation that could see a gradual reduction of methane gas in the atmosphere. The innovation, if fully embraced, will help reduce global warming, as that gas is deemed to be 80 times more powerful at warming the atmosphere than carbon dioxide, becoming the most harmful gas to human ecosystems as well as crops. Jacob Curia has that story.
Carbon emissions are not the only threat to climate change and human existence. Excessive methane gas in the atmosphere equally contributes to global warming and climate change. The reality of the methane gas is another challenge confronting the world, with the amount of methane in the atmosphere having more than doubled and emissions increasing faster now than they have since the 1980s.
Well, we know that carbon dioxide has some effect on the climate change in terms of global warming. One molecule of methane gas has 28 to 36%, depending on whether you're looking at the volume or the weight. Methane gas has a half-life of 500 years. That should scare us, because 1 ton of methane gas produced in 1990 will become half ton in 500 years.
One of the sources of methane gas is from animal waste. Scientist Daniel Wanjoke has come up with a bacterial solution to methane gas emissions. The bacteria is introduced into the rumen of herbivore animals.
If you change that bacteria that is in the stomach of a cow or a herbivore, a buffalo or a gazelle, it is going to change its very nature of what it releases. Instead of methane gas, we are proposing a global use of this product, EcoTreat, to actually fight global warming coming from herbivores or call it agriculture.
The EcoTreat product can also be used to treat sewerage plants, another potent emitter of methane gas.
This bacteria actually helps you break down the waste from your household waste, the liquid waste from the toilet, bathroom, kitchen, from a hotel setup, from an institution, whatever, it doesn't matter. The waste is broken down into clean water. That water is actually now ready to go to the liver, and so the liver will not be smelly.
As a water conservation measure, the product can also be used to treat wastewater for domestic use and polluted rivers. Wanjoki has called on African governments to show greater commitment to climate change by seeking binding deals. He has faulted the COP28 meeting held in Dubai as a mere talk shop.
The oil producing country will continue to fight any alternative energy source that threatens the fossil fuel. And this has not changed even after COP28. The language is still the same.
John Jacob Curie, Prime Edition.
Jomvu Member of Parliament Badi Twalib has urged Kenyans living along the coastal strip to be at the forefront of protecting mangroves as one of the measures to mitigate climate change effects. Speaking during the 6th edition of the annual Jomvu boat racing competition at Mkupe Creek, Badi said that those depending on the ocean for their economic activities should be climate change champions so as not to lose their source of income. Kasi Chana, Masha reports.
Mangrove cover in Kenya now stands at about 54,000 hectares, which is a drop from 60,000 hectares back in 2017. In a bid to conserve it, Jomvu MP Badi Twalib has called on residents living along the coast to plant more mangroves and refrain from cutting them down.
Katika upanzi wa mangrove ni muhimu sana watu wawe wanaweza kupanda mikoko kwa zaidi na zaidi ili kuona namna gani wanaweza kufanya hii sehemu yetu ikaweza kuwa na mandhari ambayo takuwa ni mazuri.
Speaking during the 6th edition of the annual Jomvu boat racing competition at Mkupe Creek, Twalib said that the competition aimed at sensitizing the community on the effects of climate change. He also called on the Mombasa County government to take up the Jomvu boat racing competition to be part of the county's annual activities, saying it will play a significant role in promoting sports tourism in the county.
Ministry of Blue Economy iweze kuempower hawa watu wetu, kwa sababu wakati hii bridge ilipokuwa inaanza kutengenezwa ili disrupt economic activities zao, wakawa hawezi kuvua samaki hapa. Hivi sasa bridge imalizika, wamerudi katika hali yao ya kawaida. Ni muhimu ministry to come on board.
Mombasa County Executive for Youth and Sports Ken Ambani reiterated that the Nasir-led administration was passionate about the youth, adding that as a cabinet they'll spearhead the formulation and passing of the necessary bill at the assembly for a county takeover of the event.
Mimi kama waziri nitaanzisha hiyo mikakati ya kuhakikisha kwamba hii bili inapitishwa, kwamba this will be an annual event that we will do in each and every year.
It's one of the products ambao pia tutaongea na Magic Kenya waifanye kama one of our signature products katika Mombasa, because one of those our signature products imekuwa ni Fort Jesus, imekuwa ni beaches, lakini tumeona pia kuna talanta hapa, tuna sport tourism.
The boat racing competition has over the years continued to attract thousands of locals within Jomvu and subsequent creeks around Mombasa who compete for the 40,000 Kenya shillings prize money. Kasi Masha, Prime Edition.
Further afield, 5 people aboard a Japanese Coast Guard plane have died after their aircraft collided with a passenger plane at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. The Coast Guard plane was due to deliver aid to areas hit by Monday's deadly earthquake. All 379 people on board the burning Japan Airlines planes were evacuated. This story and more in our international newsroom.
Live footage captured the harrowing moment when the JAL Airbus A350 burst into flames as it skidded down the tarmac. Despite intense efforts by rescue crews, the aircraft was ultimately overwhelmed by the blaze. Transport Minister Tetsuo Saito confirmed the devastating news of the 5 casualties among the Coast Guard's aircraft crew.
海上保安庁の飛行機につきましては、機長が1名、脱出をいたしましたけれども、5名につきましては死亡が確認されたと、このように報告を受けているところでございます。
The captain of the plane, a Bombardier-built Dash 8 maritime patrol aircraft, sustained injuries during the collision.
Wow.
This incident occurred against the backdrop of a powerful earthquake that struck Japan on New Year's Day, claiming the lives of at least 48 people. The aftermath of the earthquake has left major damage to roads and houses on the west coast of the main island. Thousands of rescuers are facing challenges reaching the worst-hit areas. Joan Junge for Prime Edition.
And that story brings us to our first break on Prime Edition. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Cheza Loto Moto
school fees ya msichana imemalizwa.
Moto moto. May the Almighty God bless you. Keep on doing the right thing.
Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
Kwenye ulimwengu wa sasa, taaluma za mikono zina umaarufu mwingi. Jiunge na Sensei Institute of Technology tukupe ujuzi na uzoefu wa kushughulikia ulimwengu. Tunafunza taaluma kama plant operator, plant mechanics, kuendesha gari na trailer, kuweka CCTV na alarm, kuweka solar, kuweka stima, motorcycle, motor vehicle mechanics na electronics, teknolojia ujenzi wa mijengo, ujenzi wa barabara na mabwawa, hospitality na taaluma nyinginezo. Kujiunga nasi, beba kitambulisho chako na utembelee tawi letu lolote. Sensei College. My skills, my future.
Welcome back, our socials at KBC Channel 1. Now, moving on, retired Warrant Officer 1 Leod Gitari was in charge of the accounts office at the Laikipia Air Base back in the 70s and 80s when finances were primarily handled as hard cash. In 1982, during the attempted coup, he was among the Kenya Air Force soldiers who were detained and later on cleared to resume duties. He shares his story in this week's edition of Military Tales.
We travel to Chogoria in Tharaka Nithi County to meet one retired Kenya Air Force Warrant Officer 1 Lloyd Gitari. Gitari was an airman who retired in the year 2009 and served the Kenya Air Force wing of the Kenya Defence Forces for 35 years. Gitari's journey started in Ikirwe village in Chogoria, where he attended Katharaka Primary School and Kereine Secondary School before joining the Air Force when he was only 20 years old in 1974. After training, Gitari would be posted to the Laikipia Air Base as an accounts clerk.
Mostly my main interest was in teaching, and when I tried, I could not get. It just happened by chance that there was a recruitment, and I enlisted in the Kenya Air Force. I went in the normal military training, and after training I was posted first to Mboya base as an accounts clerk, but I went several trainings concerning accounts. Then from there, I was again posted to Laikipia Air Base, where I worked up to the year 1991, and then thereafter went back to Mboya Air Base, where I retired.
The 1982 attempted coup that was orchestrated by Air Force officers was his most trying moment, which also led to him being detained until he was cleared.
Those were very, very trying moments for young soldiers like ourselves. First of all, discharged from the Kenya Air Force Service, and we went to prison for some time. But we went interrogations and all these things, and then we came clean. After that, I still went back to Laikipia Air Base and continued with my work as an account clerk.
After the attempted coup, he would diligently rise through the ranks to become a Warrant Officer 1 in charge of the accounts department at the Laikipia Air Base.
I was promoted to corporal, sergeant, senior sergeant, Warrant Officer 2. Then when I was promoted to Warrant Officer 1, that's the time I went to Mboya base, where I was in charge of the account section.
Gitari is quick to note that the military has grown in leaps and bounds, especially in the welfare and morale of soldiers.
Changes have been there. Many changes are there. Welfare of soldiers has gone up. Then also we can say on matters of salary, I think welfare, on side of welfare and those emoluments.
His work in the accounts department was not without challenges, especially when back in the day the technology was still in its infancy. A lot of the finances were handled as hard cash.
There seems to be petty losses of money, or you could meet those members of the junior cadre staff who are not honest. Because these are young soldiers, I was able to cancel either those who went extreme. The commanders were always helpful. They could give you a hearing.
His advice to young soldiers is to uphold discipline, stay true to country, and have a steadfast commitment to their duties.
There are so many unemployed young men, and now these who have already joined the forces, they have the chance of instilling that discipline, also developing themselves financially and also materially.
Gitare, who was part of the UN peacekeeping mission to Eritrea in 2006, has lauded the passing of the Veterans Act, which will, among others, look into the welfare of veterans.
At least on matters of medical, on matters of other welfare, at least they will be looked into. The welfare of soldiers stands to improve very much.
After his retirement, Gitare is now a community leader and is engaged in numerous community-based projects and is also a fully-fledged farmer.
I am the chairman of the Rakanidi Defoka Defense Forces Old Comrades Association. Been selected as a chairman of one of our dispensaries around, the dispensary you have seen around there. In the community, I'm also an area manager in the community.
Away from the military and farming, Gitare enjoys watching movies and also reading.
In fact, I see the best place to relax either to go and check on my tea plantation, just see what needs to be done. Sometimes tend on my cows when my farm worker is not around. And sometimes relax on watching some movies, the news, and that, or going to church.
A family man and a father of 3 sons, he says none of them followed in their father's footsteps.
We were blessed with 3 boys. One is deceased, our firstborn. The other 2, we've got one called Evans Kenywa. He's an actuarist. He works in Nairobi. The other one is also in Nairobi. He's doing some Hasra's job there. He is also a graduate of information technology.
In his closing remarks, he urged Kenyans to love their country and not take for granted the peace enjoyed within the borders, as many neighboring countries are embroiled in civil unrest.
Peace, as I have said, is the only key to survival of the Kenyans. Even if the economy is as hard as it is, without peace, I think peace and discipline are the key. Try and save for tomorrow, and life will be easy. Let us educate our children. Let us keep discipline in whatever we do. And the final thing, don't forget God.
For Military Tales, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
Welcome to the business segment. I'm holding down the fort for the business news anchor. Now, the government has gone after Kenyans' savings in a bid to raise funds for the SACCO Societies Regulatory Authority, SASRA. A schedule by SASRA shows that savings and credit cooperative societies, SACCOs registered under the SACCO Societies non-deposit taking business regulations 2020 will now pay a varied annual levy on non-withdrawable deposits beginning the 1st of January 2024, that's yesterday, for the next 4 years.
Starting 1st January 2024, all savings and credit cooperative societies registered under the SACCO Societies Non-Deposit Taking Business Regulations of 2020 will pay a modified annual levy until December 31st, 2027. The annual SACCO Societies levy will be paid at 0.1% of the non-withdrawable deposits between January 1st and December 31st, 2024. It will then be increased gradually to 0.13% in 2025, 0.14% in 2026, and 0.15% in 2027. The move is part of the government's plan to boost revenues to fund the sector regulator operations. The move is set to collect about 100 million shillings annually through the new levy. Data from the State Department of Cooperatives shows that non-withdrawable deposit-taking savings hit 97.86 billion shillings by the end of June 2023 from 90.64 billion in a similar period of the previous year, surpassing the targeted 91 billion shillings. Frederick Moki for Prime Edition.
Commuters using the Nairobi Expressway will now dig deeper into their pockets following the gazettement of new charges, which have been increased from the current range of 100 and 310 shillings to a new range of 170 and 500 shillings across all stations along Mlolongo Westlands route. Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen on his X account has, however, refuted claims that the new toll charges were increased by 50% after an uproar among users in terms of tough economic times.
The government has released new toll charges for the Nairobi Expressway. The new toll charges contained in a Gazette notice and signed by Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen have been increased from the current range of 100 and 310 shillings to a new range of 170 and 500 shillings across all stations along the Mlolongo Westlands route. On his X account, Murkomen attributes the increase to the global dollar variation rate, saying the increase aims to streamline the toll collection process and support infrastructure development and maintenance. In the new rates, motorists entering the expressway on Mlolongo and exiting at the SGR station and the eastern bypass will be required to pay 250 shillings, up from the current 100 shillings, while those exiting at the southern bypass will pay 330 shillings, up from 210 shillings. On the same route, vehicles exiting at Capitol Hill and Haile Selassie stations will pay 410 shillings, up from 210 shillings. Exits at Museum Hill, the mall, and Nairobi Westlands terminus will attract 500 shillings, up from 310 shillings. The same rates will also be applicable for motorists traveling through the opposite route from the Nairobi Westlands entry terminus to the Mlolongo exit terminus. Frederick Moki for Prime Edition.
Asia's factory activity weakened in December, signaling a shaky start for the region's manufacturing powerhouses in 2024 as China's patchy economic recovery impeded a broader revival of a demand. A range of purchasing managers' indices showed factory activity continuing to decline in most Asian economies at the end of last year and confidence broadly sagging. Details of this and more in our news roundup.
The struggles for Asia's tech-heavy economies persisted, with South Korea's factory activity dipping back into decline and Taiwan extending its contraction for the 19th straight month. China's Caixin PMI showed an unexpected acceleration in activity in December, although this contrasted with Belnich's official PMI released on Sunday that remained in contraction territory for the third straight month. The mixed economic prospects for China continue to cloud the outlook for its major trading partners. Meanwhile, the dollar crept higher on the first trading day of the year as attention turned to economic data this week that may provide clues on the Federal Reserve's next moves, while Bitcoin surged ahead of $45,000 for the first time since April 2022. The dollar ascent weighed on the Japanese yen the most, with the Asian currency down 0.35% at 141.36 per dollar, having slid 7% in 2023. The focus now switches to a slew of economic data due this week, including the data on job openings and non-farm payrolls. The crypto world started the year with a bang, with Bitcoin touching a 21-month peak of $45,502 on rising expectations that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission would soon approve exchange-traded spot Bitcoin funds. Finally, oil prices jumped 1.5% in the first session of the new year due to potential supply disruptions in the Middle East after a naval clash in the Red Sea and hopes of strong holiday demand and economic stimulus in China, the top crude importer. Economists and analysts predicted Brent crude would average at $2.56 a barrel this year, slightly higher than the average of $82.17 in 2023. Edna Murungi for Prime Edition.
What about mambo fantastic even not scholastic? Chota kuchota na heti ya supermarket imerudi. Ukifanya tu shopping ya shilingi 1,000, wewe unaingia kwa promotion ya chota kuchota na heti ya supermarket. Watu wanaendelea kushinda ndani ya heti ya supermarket. What tata? Kitoko. Hey, wewe na umeshinda nini? Hasa, uoga na lala. Karibu ndani ya heti ya supermarket uweze kuchota kwa wingi kabisa. Watu huko wanasema nini? Nakwambia kwamba chota kuchota. Unangoja nini?
Magari 7 za kushindaniwa, TV, fridge, microwave, shopping vouchers, school fees vouchers, instant prizes na zawadi zingine kemkem. Chota kuchota imethaminiwa na Hetias, Oven Fresh Bakery, Gigabyte, Mount Kenya Milk, Clover's Food Products, Velvex, Magic Drink, Pwani Oil, Arenco, Fruit Juice, Masterchef, Toilex, Coolsip, Mika, Wash Ultra, Philos, Bristol, Nivea, My Choice, Ushindi, Fresh Fry, Arimis Jelly, Cabernet Water, Dettol, Ketepa, Meta, Glucose, Coca-Cola, Rosy Tissue, Big Giant, Elbins, Unilever, Fresh, Unga wa Dola, Blue Band na Pasta Star. Shindano la chota kuchota linaanza tarehe 1 Disemba hadi tarehe 10 Februari mwaka 2024.
Hetias Supermarket, a world of choice.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is one thing we can always count on: the power of compassion and generosity. Every day, families in Kenya face unimaginable challenges and hardships. They struggle to put food on the table, provide shelter for their loved ones, and access basic health care. But today, you have the power to make a difference. By just contributing 1 shilling and 50 cents from your airtime, your generosity can provide access to sanitary pads, nutritious food, clean water, education, and life-saving medical care to those who need it most. To support this cause, please tune in to your favorite radio station under the KBC umbrella for step-by-step instructions on how to subscribe. KBC Helping Hands. Together, we can make a difference and bring hope to those in need.
Cheza Loto Moto.
School fees mtoto imelipwa, lakini bado tunataka kuendelea throughout.
Loto Moto imekuja kwa maisha yetu when I needed it the most. That is all I can say for now. I'm so grateful. May God bless you.
Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
Get ready for the captivating return of the FKF Premier League, exclusively on KBC. Brace yourself for the thrill of football as 18 teams battle it out for glory. Every week, KBC brings you not one, but 2 heart-pounding matches, delivering the best football action right to your living room. The stakes are higher than ever. The league champion takes home a handsome prize of 5 million shillings and also earns the honor of representing Kenya in the prestigious CAF Champions League. Feel the adrenaline, experience the suspense, and join the roar of the crowd as we celebrate the return of Kenya's football legacy. The FKF Premier League, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 and KBC radio stations. Save the date, mark your calendars, and get ready for the ultimate football spectacle. Coming to you live only on KBC. KBC, your true sports partner.
Well, it's now time to take a look at the day's sports. Coach is on set.
Thank you so much, Tom, and thank you for joining us on Prime Edition Sports. I'm Bernard Okumu, and let's begin in Budalangi, where Busia Elites and Busia Combined were crowned champions of the inaugural Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba Trophy after winning their respective matches at the Siagonjo grounds in Budalangi, Busia County. Now, after the tournament, Cabinet Secretary Ababu said that talents identified from the one-day tournament will be incorporated into the Talanta Hela youth team.
Busia Elites and Busia Combined are the champions of the inaugural Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba Trophy. Busia Elite defeated Harambee Starlet 7-6 through penalty shootouts after the two teams played to a 1-1 draw during regulation time.
Kwanza ni muhimu zaidi tuhakikisha kwamba kuna usawa kwenye michezo, na ndio sababu kila mara tunapochukua hatua yoyote ya kufanikisha michezo tunahakikisha kwamba vijana wetu wa kiume na vijana wetu wa kike wanahusika. Usawa huo ni muhimu zaidi.
On the other hand, Busia Combined won the men's title after beating Harambee Junior Stars 2-1 in a fiercely contested final match played at the same venue. Speaking during the event, Cabinet Secretary for Sports Ababu Namwamba said talents identified from the one-day event will be incorporated into the Talanta Hela youth team, which is set to participate in the Mediterranean International Cup in Spain in March this year.
The whole country is replete with talents, and all we need is the right pipeline, the right conveyor belt to pick up those talent in an equivocal, deliberate, intentional and structured manner and deliver those talents to the right destination.
And well done, Busia Elites and Busia Combined. Moving on, Sitiho Young Men Football Team and Handalala Lady Superstars were crowned champions of the Duncan and Rose Muchuma Foundation Football Tournament held in Mboya West, Bungoma County. Now, the tournament was organized by the foundation with the aim of uniting the community, enhancing productivity, and encouraging the youth to maximize opportunities in the digital space.
Sitigo FC defeated Musananda FC 2-0 in the final to win the Duncan and Rose Muchuma Foundation football title in Webuye. Sungura FC finished third in the tournament, which saw Gandalala Superstars FC win the women's title after demonstrating their prowess on the field by beating Mwangaza 1-0 in the final. Mwangaza Starlets settled for second position, while Mwembula Super Starlets finished third. The Duncan and Rose Muchuma Foundation football tournament, sponsored by Inua AI, not only focused on sports but also included various other competitions such as sugarcane chewing, cycling, soda drinking and bread eating. The diverse range of activities aimed at engaging the community and providing opportunities for individuals to showcase their talents in different areas. Inua AI CEO Humphrey Muchuma emphasized that the tournament has successfully united the community, enhanced productivity, and encouraged the youth to maximize opportunities in the digital space.
This is just the start. We are looking at bigger things. We don't want to focus more on the games. Right now it's the games, but we also want to look at the digital space. So what can we introduce for our young people to start working on? We want something that is more sustainable to the whole community. Rather than just having the games, but more of spread it out to see what young people can engage in diversity. So the people who are good in games, the people who are good in the digital space, open up opportunities for young people in all areas that we can find. That's what the intention is.
The event served as a platform for talent identification and empowerment, highlighting the importance of sports and digital skills in today's world.
And the second edition of the Kakamega Governors Cup came to an end at Buhungu International Stadium, where at least 1,000 teams participated in soccer, volleyball, both men and women, and netball from across the 60 wards in the county. Opposition leader Raila Odinga, who was the guest of honor, called on the national government to closely work with the Kakamega County government to ensure timely completion of Buhungu Stadium ahead of the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations.
In the closing ceremony graced by the former Premier Raila Odinga, young Simba from Nshilalo sub-county secured victory in men football category, earning 2 million shillings the coveted trophy and medals, while Maroon Commandos settled for 1.4 million shillings. Etenje Ward finest Buchifi FC had earlier bagged 1 million shillings after beating Butali FC, who equally settled for 500,000 shillings after emerging second and third runners-up respectively. Odinga called on the national government to ensure timely completion of Buhungu Stadium to international status for it to host the AFCON 2027 matches.
Makao makuu ya mpira iko Kakamega na Kisumu katika taifa letu. Kwa mimi nimependekeza kwa Bwana Ruto, peleka AFCON Buhungu na Kisumu Stadium. Hii bado ni pendekezo yangu. Pamoja na babu na mwamba, tafadhalini, bado iko na time. Tengenezeni Buhungu Stadium ikwishe. Let us complete the construction of Buhungu Stadium to international standards, to FIFA standards, so that AFCON games can be played here in Buhungu Stadium.
FCPA Baraza, who is also the partner of the Governors Cup, in his remarks promised to enhance government strategies in identifying and nurturing talents beyond sports, music, and the arts across the county.
Kakamega is the home of football. Hii tournament yetu ambayo tulianzia kule wadi, tumekuwa na michezo ambayo imekuwa ya kufana sana. Na leo tumefika kilele cha Governors Cup ambayo imehusisha timu za wasichana na pia timu za vijana. Tumekuwa na mchezo wa netball, tumekuwa na volleyball, na leo hivi sasa tunataka kuanza finali ya Governors Cup male football. Mshindi wa hii mechi ambayo nataka kuanza hivi sasa atapokea shilingi milioni 2, and the total prize ambayo zapatiwana siku ya leo ni shilingi milioni 10.
Before the final match, Kenya Premiers League, Kakamega Homeboys fell to their home rival AFC Leopards with a 0-1 lose in a curtain raiser match played at the same venue. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition Sports.
Now, Kenya, Uganda, as well as Tanzania did win the bid to host the 2027 edition of the Africa Cup of Nations. Let's go to this year's edition, where Super Eagles coach Jose Pazeiro says his team will fight to win the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast, even though he admits the Eagles are in a tough group. Meanwhile, Algeria and Stade Rennes forward Amin Guri is set to miss the continental tournament due to injury.
Jordan Ayew on that left flank, powering forward.
Super Eagles coach Jose Paseiro says his team is in a tough pool but is going for the AFCON title. The former Real Madrid assistant coach said the Eagles will be in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, where they are expected to play Burkina Faso and Cape Verde in pre-tournament friendlies. The Eagles last won the African title 11 years ago in South Africa, defeating Burkina Faso by a lone goal in the final. Meanwhile, Algeria forward Amin Gouiri is set to miss out on the 2023 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast due to injury, Algeria are drawn in Group D of the competition alongside Mauritania, Burkina Faso and Angola. They will open their campaign on the 15th of January against Angola.
Bring it in towards Slimani, and he's found him, and he's found the net.
Now, the Africa Cup of Nations begins in 2 weeks. That's in Ivory Coast. Further afield, Mohamed Salah scored twice and set up another as Liverpool beat Newcastle 4-2 on New Year's Day. But he now goes away to the Africa Cup of Nations with Egypt. The Reds moved 3 points clear at the top of the Premier League with the win over Newcastle, with a 5-point gap on Manchester City, who have a game in hand, and Arsenal, two of their main rivals for the crown.
And saved by Dubravka. Alexander-Arnold slices the follow-up horribly to eventually go up. Alexander-Arnold, oh my word! Dubravka didn't even see it. Luis Diaz has used him as the decoy. What a pass! Darwin Nunez, Mohamed Salah, Liverpool score. New year, same old Mohamed Salah. That's a ball for Isak, and that's nice, and Isak scores.